The art of stillness within your mind is probably one of the most underrated abilities in this generation period, right? The ability to be able to silence your mind in an endless in an endless world where we just have information thrown at us 24/7. Being able to have silence in your mind, even though my last video was about me thinking quite a lot, is a superpower, right? And the reason I say that is because all of my best ideas have come from when my mind has become silent, right? So let's say I'm thinking quite deeply about something, right? I allow my mind to do that, as that helps me to find a topic, for example, to think about. But the silence is what answers the questions of the overthinking mind, essentially, from my experience. So, for example, let's say what I used to call this my mind, or my mind answering the question for me in the background. I used to say to people that my brain works for me in the background while I'm going ahead and doing something else. But what I didn't realize at that time, and that was when I was a bit younger, is I'm essentially in this sort of flow state at a point where I've had something, or previously I've had something that's maybe bothering me, or I'm trying to figure out something inside my mind. And then through silence of the mind, being totally present, right? Whether that's doing some sort of sport, whether that's even in the shower. Like for me, you guys might have this as well. I have some of my best ideas in the shower, and also at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night when I'm about to sleep. And the key things about those periods or times is that my brain is relaxed. It's not obsessively thinking about things. And like I said, through the stillness of the mind, you can come to some of your best ideas. Okay. So that leads me on to sort of talking about meditation, because meditation is the ability to sort of still or bring your mind to a stillness so it can work for you. What I've noticed with a lot of people who do suffer with anxiety or OCD or any of these sort of mind-related issues is that they struggle to still their mind, meaning to have almost control of your mind. I don't even want to say you have control over the mind, because the mind is erratic in of itself, but it's more about disassociation from the mind and more understanding that you're not the mind and you are yourself, and that you don't need to listen to sort of the erratic cycle of your brain all the time, essentially. It's a weird sort of like ego detachment, right? Because that voice in your head, you become very familiar with it. And a lot of people's survival is dependent on this idea and this voice in their head, which they don't realize isn't themselves. Okay, but let's relate this to some sort of businessy, trading-y type thing. Not to say all these videos are going to be that, but obviously you guys are interested in that topic. So let's say you are trading, for example, or you're doing business or anything like that. When you're still, you can produce your best work. Yeah, it's like, for example, me talking in front of this camera, or let's say, I don't know, you go on a project, go on the street. When your mind is silent, you can talk, you can think, that the ideas just roll off your tongue. But when you're in your head, in these moments, you'll produce shit work, right? As simple as that. Or you'll be unconfident to talk to whoever you're trying to talk to. Or even if, for example, let's say, I go to boxing, I'm in my head, there's guys boxing there, I'm a little bit in my head, I'm like half being a bit awkward, like not really talking to people and just being sociable. It's like, if your mind is quiet in that moment, you'll easily go and talk to people. You'll easily just fall into conversation, fall into opportunity, fall into just life, really, right? Enjoying your life in a way. So silence of the mind essentially activates that flow state. I know a lot of people like to call it flow state. Regardless of whatever perspective you look at it from, meditation, being able to silence your mind, is a superpower, because so many people can't do it, right? Okay, now that was hilarious. So key takeaways from this is just go ahead, right? Let's say you have a problem in your mind. I don't know, you've been overthinking doing X, Y, Z. Just try and meditate on it, right? I know it sounds really strange. It's almost like, it's like water. This is what's come into my mind, right? When you try and force something, right, you're essentially putting like roadblocks in it, and you're also putting your perception onto the problem. But it's almost like water where if you just let it flow, if you just let things happen, it just allows your brain to flow and to give you sort of the best sort of answers that you can get. Yeah, so give it a go, see what you think, and yeah, just put it in the comments down below if you do end up trying to do it and if you gain any clarity from that.